Dear viewer, I want to tell you a story. It is a story full of adventure and wondrous things. And just like all stories start somewhere, mine started on what ended up being the absolute worst day of my life. The last thing I remember doing is going to bed. But as soon as I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a world unknown to me. And I assume unknown to any of mankind. At first I was confused. Was this a dream? No, it couldn't be. Everything felt so real, and yet it looked not. I looked around. Everything looked so strange. Like it was all made up out of blocks. And I don't just mean the world itself, but also the cows, and even the sun and the clouds, and even me. Who or what was I? But I think most importantly, where was I? I wandered around in disbelief for a little while. Eventually, I walked up to a tree, wanting to give it a closer look. But as I got closer to this tree, I suddenly got the urge to beat the ever-living crap out of it. This urge grew stronger the closer I got to it, and in the end, I just couldn't control myself any longer. Die, tree, die! After destroying a block part of the tree, a miniature version of it appeared. Oh, look at it, it's so tiny! I picked it up and used it to satisfy my urge by destroying the rest of the tree. After having fully destroyed it, I could finally think again. The leaves of the tree were just floating now. Gravity must work differently in this world. I had also noticed that I kept getting these strange notifications in my eye. I tried to ignore them first, hoping they would go away. But this last one talked about my recipe book. What kind of culinary wonders would this world have to offer? But since I don't consider wooden planks a culinary specialty, I was quite disappointed. But that disappointment quickly vanished as this recipe book magically turned my miniature logs into miniature wooden planks. This could come in handy, I said to myself. It then added even more recipes, among which a box on which it seemed I could play tic-tac-toe. Finally something normal, I thought. But after I put it on the ground, I soon discovered an issue. I had no crosses or circles and nothing to write them with either, so I unfortunately wasn't able to play yet. During my wandering around, I had also discovered that I was on a small island, and I could only see other small islands in the distance. I didn't really feel like swimming, but even if I did, the ocean was full of these creepy squid-like creatures that looked like they could swallow me whole. So a hard pass on that one. There was a small lake in the middle of my island. I decided to get in and try to clear my mind. But as soon as I even touched the water, a new recipe got added to my book. A boat. How convenient. And it required only wooden planks, which I just so happened to have. So I made a boat, which seemed to be completely flat while holding it, but luckily inflated as soon as it hit the water. I got in, and holy crap did I go fast. Whoever I was clearly skipped leg day but made up for it with the arm strength of 15 fully grown gorillas. I went to one of the nearby islands to check it out, but sadly it was pretty much the same as my old one, just with less trees. I wanted to visit more islands, but it was almost getting dark and I decided to find a place to sleep. The one tree on the island would do just fine, since the leaf blocks were very solid but yet soft. After watching the end of the sunset and seeing the moon in the sky above me, I decided to call it a day. Maybe things weren't so bad in this quite peaceful world. That night I was roughly awoken by a sharp pain in my side. There was an arrow stuck in it. I checked to see where it came from and I saw a skinny white guy charging towards me with his bow. I got hit again, in the shoulder this time. I tried to run to my boat, but the excruciating pain from both my shoulder and my side were severely slowing me down. Miraculously I made it without being hit again. I got in my boat and rowed away as fast as I could. These islands weren't safe at night. I decided to stay in my boat that night. But as I was peacefully rowing around, I was attacked again. This time by strange forces in the ocean. It seemed like Poseidon himself was against me, or whatever god there will be in this world. I barely made it away with my life. I started panicking. At this rate I wasn't gonna survive. I needed a safe place. Fast. At least for the night. I started checking the islands. Island 1. Monsters. Island 2. Monsters. This world got less fun by the minute. Finally I arrived at a small island that was completely empty. It seemed safe. I had to take the risk. It felt good to feel solid ground under my feet again. I walked around the island for a bit just to make sure it was safe. Then I sat down against the only 2 blocks on the island, and I thought to myself, this day could not get any worse. And that's when it started raining.